Captain Alex Mercer gripped the controls of his hovercraft as it skimmed across the jagged surface of Xylaris, a distant planet known for its harsh terrain and warring alien factions. His team of human soldiers sat tense behind him, scanning the horizon for any signs of trouble. The sky was a swirl of deep orange and violet, storm clouds twisting above jagged cliffs that jutted out like the spines of some ancient creature. "Eyes open," Alex said, his voice steady over the comm link. "Intel says the Krith are active in this sector. They might try to ambush us." Lieutenant Rena Cole, his second-in-command, adjusted her visor. "Sir, I'm seeing movement up ahead. Small group. Could be patrols." Alex nodded, narrowing his eyes. He was a soldier, trained to assess danger quickly, but something in the rhythm of the movement felt different. It wasn't the usual scattered patrols. The formation was too deliberate, almost defensive. Before he could order a closer inspection, a series of blasts ripped through the air. Explosions rocked the hovercraft, throwing Alex and his team against their restraints. Sparks flew from the dashboard, alarms screaming. "Krith attack!" shouted Rena as she grabbed her rifle. The vehicle skidded to a halt near a ruined structure. Alex jumped out, boots crunching on the red rocky ground. Smoke rose from the shattered hull and distant cries echoed through the canyon-like terrain. "Move! On me!" Alex commanded, leading his squad into the chaos. Ahead, through the haze, he could see alien figures, tall, lean, and covered in sleek armor, fighting fiercely. But something was unusual. A smaller group was clearly protecting someone, their weapons pointed outward, defending rather than attacking. Alex's instincts kicked in. These were not aggressors. They were guardians, and the one they were protecting. He couldn't see clearly yet, but he knew immediately it was someone important. "Rena, flank left. Daniels, take right. Cover our advance," Alex shouted, sprinting toward the defenders. Blaster fire sizzled past him, scorching the rocks nearby. Alex dove behind a ruined wall, firing back. The aliens, unlike the Krith, didn't flee. They fought with precision, trying desperately to shield their charge. Through a break in the smoke, Alex finally saw her. A young alien woman. Her skin a pale shade of lavender. Her eyes wide and bright with fear, yet filled with courage. Her regal posture, and the way the guards circled her made Alex realized instantly she was no ordinary civilian. She was a princess, and these were her protectors. A cry of alarm went up as the Krith closed in, far more numerous than the defenders. One by one, the guardians fell, their weapons firing steadily until they could fire no more. Alex's squad reached the perimeter, but even they were pinned under the Krith's relentless attack. Alex's mind raced. Retreating would mean certain death for the princess. Hesitation was not an option. "Stay behind me," he yelled, charging through the hail of energy blasts. He fired his rifle with deadly accuracy, taking down enemy soldiers one by one. Every shot, every move, was calculated. He didn't just fight. He moved with purpose, knowing that lives depended on his courage. The princess's eyes met his briefly, a mixture of shock and trust. It was a look Alex would never forget. Something inside him stirred, a sense of duty, far beyond orders or protocol. "Go, move now," he shouted at the princess, motioning for her to follow. With his squad forming a protective circle, Alex fought backward, clearing a path. The ground shook as energy blasts tore holes in the terrain. He felt the heat of near misses against his armor, but he pressed on. Each step forward was a defiance of the odds, a refusal to let the Krith claim another life. Suddenly, a massive shadow loomed over them. A Krith commander, towering and menacing, landed in front of the princess, swinging a massive energy axe. Its armor glinted under the stormy sky, and its eyes glowed with malice. "Human, you will not survive," it growled in a guttural language that even translators struggled to interpret. Alex's heart pounded, but he didn't flinch. He raised his rifle, dodged the first swing of the axe, and fired at the glowing core in the creature's chest. Sparks erupted as the blast connected, staggering the Krith commander. The creature roared, swinging again, but Alex was faster. He rolled to the side, fired a second shot, and then a third. The commander stumbled and fell, defeated but not destroyed. "Move, princess," Alex shouted, grabbing her hand. Her small, slender fingers clutched his in instinctive trust. Together they ran, leaping over debris and avoiding falling rubble. The team fought bravely behind them, holding off the remaining Krith soldiers just long enough for Alex and the princess to reach the hovercraft. He threw her inside, shielding her with his body as he started the engine. "Hold on," he yelled, and the hovercraft shot forward, gliding over the rocky terrain. Behind them, explosions lit up the battlefield like fiery fireworks, marking the end of the ambush. Inside the craft, the princess finally spoke, her voice trembling but firm. You saved me." Alex glanced at her, breathing heavily. "We're not out of danger yet, but yes, I'm not letting anyone hurt you." She studied him with wide, curious eyes. "You are not like the others. Humans are brave." Alex chuckled softly, brushing soot from his uniform. "Bravery is just doing what you know is right, no matter how scared you are." The hovercraft flew over the mountains and valleys of Xilaris as Alex guided it toward a hidden base. The planet below stretched in strange alien beauty, rivers of shimmering liquid, forests of crystalline trees, and mountains that sparkled under the stormy sky. Alex had seen battlefields before, but never anything like this. By the time they reached the base, night had fallen. The storm clouds had parted slightly, revealing the twin moons of Xilaris shining above. Guards greeted them cautiously but respectfully, clearly aware of the princess's presence. Alex escorted her to a secure room, where she finally allowed herself a moment of relief. "I was told no human would dare come this far," she whispered, almost to herself. "Yet here you are, risking everything for me." Alex shrugged. "I don't think of it as risking. I think of it as doing what has to be done." The princess smiled faintly, a mixture of gratitude and admiration in her eyes. "You are unlike any being I have ever known." As Alex left the room, he couldn't shake a feeling stirring within him. This planet, these people, and this princess. They were going to change his life forever. He had come here as a soldier, following orders and fulfilling missions. But now he sensed something bigger, something that went beyond rank or duty. Outside, he looked up at the alien sky, the moons reflecting in the crystalline rivers below. For the first time in his life, he wondered what it would mean to truly protect someone, not just survive a mission. And deep in the palace, the princess whispered to herself, "Perhaps this human is meant for more than we could ever imagine." The seeds of destiny had been planted, and neither of them knew yet just how far this path would lead. But one thing was certain. Captain Alex Mercer had faced the impossible, and he had won, not for glory, not for honor, but for what was right. And on Xilaris, that alone could change the fate of a kingdom. The Xylarian capital stretched before Alex Mercer like nothing he had ever seen. Towering spires of crystal reflected the sunlight in dazzling colors, casting rainbow-like patterns across the streets below. Hovering vehicles zipped between buildings, and strange alien creatures moved with purpose along bridges and walkways. The city was alive with activity, yet there was an underlying tension, one Alex could feel even from the perimeter. Princess Lyra walked beside him, her presence commanding attention wherever she went. Even now, after the terrifying ambush, she carried herself with calm dignity. Alex noticed how the citizens glanced at her with a mixture of reverence and hope. She was more than a princess. She was a symbol of unity for a divided planet. "Are you ready?" Lyra asked softly, glancing at him. Her voice carried a melodic tone that somehow made Alex feel at ease, even amidst the chaos of the capital. "As ready as I'll ever be," Alex replied, offering her a small, reassuring smile. They entered the royal palace, a towering structure of crystal and metal that seemed to glow from within. Guards lined the corridors, their armor polished and glinting under the light. Each step they took echoed with authority, but Alex noticed the wary glances from some nobles. They clearly were unsure of a human walking among them. "Do not be concerned," Lyra whispered. Some of the council will need convincing that you are more than a soldier, and some may never trust you. Alex nodded, understanding that diplomacy was not his natural strength. He had been trained for combat, not court intrigue. Yet he also understood that leadership often required more than just skill in battle. It required courage, fairness, and integrity. Traits he had learned through years of service on Earth. They reached a large chamber where the Xylarian Council convened. Tall figures with iridescent skin and flowing robes of deep colors sat in a semicircle. Their eyes, wide and reflective, studied Alex with obvious skepticism. Lyra stepped forward and addressed the council. "Honored members, I present Captain Alex Mercer, a human soldier who risked his life to save me from certain death. His courage and skill ensured that I live to protect our people and guide our planet." A murmur passed through the council. Some seemed impressed, others visibly uneasy. One elder, with deep blue skin and piercing golden eyes, leaned forward. "A human? And you suggest he should walk freely in our city? How can we trust a being from another world?" Alex straightened, speaking calmly but firmly. "I may be human, but I fight for what is right. I do not care about politics or power. My goal is simple: to protect the princess and help her people survive. You can judge me by my actions, not my species." The room fell silent. Alex's words were simple, yet they carried weight. The council members exchanged glances, some nodding slowly, others still skeptical. Lyra smiled faintly at him. "Actions speak louder than words, and Captain Mercer's actions saved my life. That alone earns him respect." After much discussion, the council agreed to allow Alex to assist with defensive planning. They could not deny his effectiveness in battle, and they recognized that Xylaris was vulnerable to the Krith if its factions remained divided. Alex, though wary of political maneuvering, understood the opportunity. To protect Lyra, he would need to gain the trust of her people. Over the next several days, Alex worked closely with Lyra's personal guards, teaching them human tactics and combining them with Xylarian technology. He showed them formations, ambush techniques, and ways to use terrain to their advantage. At first, the guards were hesitant, accustomed to their traditional methods. But when Alex demonstrated a simulated attack, they saw the effectiveness of his strategies. Slowly, they began to trust him, respecting not only his skill, but his willingness to fight alongside them rather than giving orders from behind a desk. During breaks, Alex explored the city with Lyra. They visited markets filled with glowing fruits, creatures that shimmered like liquid metal, and shops selling intricate technology he could barely understand. Despite the differences, Alex found comfort in simple connections, sharing stories of Earth, learning about Xylarian culture, and even laughing at small misunderstandings. "You humans are strange," Lyra said one afternoon, pointing at Alex as he examined a floating crystal puzzle. "You always need to touch and move everything to understand it. We prefer observation." Alex grinned. "Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to understand how things work. That's how I survive." Lyra shook her head, laughing softly. "You are unusual, brave, clever, and yet very human. Perhaps that is why my people need you." Alex felt a sense of purpose growing within him. He had always followed orders without question, but here, on this alien planet, he realized that leadership was more than just commands. It was about earning trust, understanding others, and taking responsibility for lives beyond his own. However, not everyone welcomed his presence. Some council members whispered behind closed doors, questioning whether a human should hold influence over Xylarian defenses. One noble, Commander Varric, openly challenged him during a training exercise. "Captain Mercer, your methods are unorthodox and dangerous. Xylarian soldiers are trained for years in our ways. Do you truly believe you can teach them better in a few days?" Alex met his gaze evenly. "I don't claim to replace your traditions. I only show another way, one that may save lives. If your soldiers die because they refuse to adapt, it will not be my fault." The council murmured again, some impressed by his confidence. Varric scowled but could not deny the effectiveness Alex demonstrated during the exercise. Even skeptics began to see the value in his human perspective. Days later, scouts reported a small Krith raiding party approaching a nearby settlement. Lyra and Alex led a coordinated defense, blending human tactics with Xylarian technology. The battle was fierce but precise. Alex's strategies allowed the defenders to outmaneuver the Krith, capturing several without unnecessary loss of life. Afterward, the citizens hailed them as heroes. Alex, though uncomfortable with praise, realized that his presence was already changing perceptions. Humans were not merely outsiders. They could be allies, protectors, and even symbols of hope. One evening, as the twin moons of Xylaris cast a gentle light over the city, Lyra invited Alex to the palace gardens. The air was filled with the scent of glowing flowers, and soft alien melodies drifted from nearby fountains. "You have done more than save my life, Alex," Lyra said, her eyes reflecting the moons above. "You have begun to unite my people. They are listening to you, respecting you, and in doing so they are beginning to believe in something greater." Alex looked at her, the weight of her words settling in. "I don't know if I deserve such praise. I only do what I think is right, but I will do everything I can to help you, Princess, to help Xylaris." Lyra smiled, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "That is why I trust you. Courage and morality are what this planet needs, not just skill in battle, and I believe humans possess both." As the days passed, Alex found himself drawn deeper into Xylarian politics, not by desire but by necessity. He mediated disputes between factions, advised on defensive strategies, and even participated in ceremonial events, where his presence was both a novelty and a reassurance. Every time he acted with honesty, fairness, and courage, his reputation grew. He began to realize that his role here was no longer just a soldier's duty. The lives of millions depended on the alliances he helped form, the strategies he devised, and the trust he inspired. And through it all, he remained aware that the Krith were still a threat, lurking beyond the planet's borders, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Yet, despite the challenges, Alex felt something he had never felt before. Hope. Not just for survival, but for making a difference, for proving that even one individual, human or not, could change the course of history. In the quiet of the palace one night, Alex stood on a balcony, gazing at the glowing city below. Lyra joined him, her presence calm and reassuring. "Do you ever wonder why it is you, a human soldier, who came to Xylaris and found yourself here?" she asked softly. Alex thought for a moment. "I don't know. Maybe it was luck. Or maybe humans have a way of showing courage when it matters most. I only know that I won't waste the chance to help." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining with quiet determination. "Then together, we will protect this world. Together, we will show that courage, wisdom, and heart can change the fate of a kingdom." As they looked out over the city, the first hints of dawn painted the sky in soft purples and golds. Alex felt a sense of belonging he had never known. He was far from Earth, on a planet filled with strange beauty and danger, yet he knew that his purpose was clear. The Krith had been held at bay for now, but he understood that the real battles, those that tested courage, leadership, and morality, were just beginning. And for the first time in his life, Alex Mercer felt ready to face them, not just as a soldier, but as a trusted protector and ally of Xylaris. The stage was set. Alliances had begun to form, and the destiny of the planet and perhaps of Alex himself was starting to take shape. The city of Xylaris glimmered under the soft light of its twin moons, but beneath its beauty, danger stirred. Captain Alex Mercer had grown accustomed to the rhythm of palace life, training the guards, planning defenses, and advising Princess Lyra, but he never stopped watching for threats. He had learned that even in moments of peace, the seeds of betrayal could grow unseen. It began subtly. Reports from scouts suggested unusual movements near the outer settlements. Supplies intended for the city's defense were disappearing, and messages intercepted from distant Krith forces hinted at inside help. Alex studied the intelligence carefully, his instincts telling him something was amiss. "Rena," he said quietly, reviewing the data in his quarters. "These patterns, they're too organized to be random. Someone inside our walls is helping the Krith." Lieutenant Cole frowned, leaning over the table. "You think it's one of the council members?" Alex's jaw tightened. "I don't know yet, but whoever it is, they've been careful. Too careful. If we're going to stop the next attack, we need to find them before they act." Meanwhile, Princess Lyra was preparing for a council meeting. She trusted Alex implicitly, but the political tensions among the nobles were rising. Commander Varric, still wary of the human, had been speaking privately with other dissenting members. Alex had noticed the subtle glances and whispered conversations, the way some nobles avoided him in the corridors. Despite these tensions, the palace felt calm that morning, almost deceptively so. Alex was reviewing defensive positions when a sudden alarm blared throughout the halls. Crimson lights flashed as an urgent message reached the palace comms. The princess had been kidnapped. Alex's heart raced. He knew immediately that this was no ordinary attack. This was an inside job. Someone familiar with the palace's defenses had opened a path for the attackers. Rena and the remaining guards rushed to his side. "Where is she?" Alex demanded, already moving toward the command center. The palace sensors indicated a rapid departure through a service corridor that led to the cliffs beyond the city. The trail was narrow, dangerous, and heavily patrolled by the Krith. Alex didn't hesitate. "We follow quietly. We cannot risk her life in a frontal assault. Move fast, but move smart." As they tracked the kidnappers across treacherous terrain, Alex considered who could betray them. The signs pointed toward a trusted advisor, someone with access to both intelligence and the palace's inner workings. The thought burned within him. Xylaris had opened its doors to him, and now treachery threatened everything he had worked to protect. The trail led to a jagged canyon, where the Krith had set up a fortified camp. The kidnappers had moved the princess into a high observation tower, its crystalline walls shimmering under the moonlight. Alex crouched behind a rocky ledge, scanning the area. "Too many to fight head-on," he murmured. "We need another plan." He studied the terrain, the weak points in the Krith's defenses, and the paths leading to the tower. Then he smiled faintly. "We'll go through the cliffs. Narrow ledges, almost invisible to the guards. Rena, take point with the team. I'll flank from above." The plan required precision, courage, and patience. They moved silently, scaling sheer rock faces and slipping along hidden paths. Every step was dangerous. One mistake could send them plummeting into the canyon below, or alert the Krith to the princess's position. Hours passed, and the moon rose high in the sky. Alex finally reached a vantage point overlooking the tower. From here, he could see Princess Lyra standing in the center of the crystalline room, guarded by 2 Krith soldiers. She had not yet noticed him. Alex signaled to Rena. The guards positioned themselves silently along the ledge, ready to move on his command. Alex's heart pounded. This was a mission where hesitation could mean death, not just his, but the princess's. He leaped down, landing behind one of the Krith soldiers with a soft thud. A quick, precise strike incapacitated the guard without alerting the others. The second guard turned just as Alex rolled forward, disarming him with a swift maneuver. Princess Lyra gasped, then relaxed when she saw Alex. "You came for me," she whispered, a mixture of relief and admiration in her eyes. "Always," Alex replied, helping her move toward the hidden exit. "We have to be careful. There are more waiting outside." They made their way along a narrow crystal bridge, the structure vibrating under distant sounds of movement. Suddenly, a shadow fell across their path. Commander Varric emerged, flanked by 2 palace guards. His golden eyes glinted with anger and malice. "Human," he said, his voice cold. "I knew you would try something foolish. The princess is under my protection now. You will not take her." Alex's grip on his rifle tightened. "Varric, you betrayed your own people?" Varric laughed, a harsh, metallic sound. The Krith promised me power. Your alien princess is naive to trust outsiders. I will ensure she never rules, and you will fail. The tension was thick. Alex knew that fighting Varric here would be dangerous. The guards were well trained, and Varric himself was a formidable opponent. But he also knew hesitation would cost Lyra her life. With a burst of speed, Alex acted. He dodged Varric's strike, rolled across the bridge, and used his environment to his advantage, sending a shimmering crystal shard toward one of the guards. The distraction was enough. Rena and the team, having scaled a side ledge, joined the fight, taking down the remaining guard. Varric snarled, realizing he had underestimated the human soldier. Alex confronted him directly, forcing Varric to retreat back into the shadows. "This isn't over," Varric hissed, disappearing into the darkness. Alex turned to Lyra, who was trembling but unharmed. "We need to move now," he urged, using a secret path through the cliffs. Alex guided her back toward safety. The journey was treacherous. Sharp rocks and narrow ledges forced them to proceed cautiously. But Alex's steady guidance, combined with Lyra's determination, allowed them to move swiftly without incident. Hours later, they returned to a secure palace entrance. The guards greeted them with awe and respect, understanding that Alex had, once again, risked everything for the princess. Lyra, catching her breath, looked at him with gratitude. "You saved me again," she whispered. Alex shook his head, a small smile on his face. "I told you, I don't think of it as saving. I think of it as doing what has to be done." Lyra's eyes softened. "Still, your courage and skill are extraordinary. You are not just a soldier, you are something more, something my people need." Alex considered her words. He had always believed in duty, in following orders, in protecting those who could not protect themselves. But here, on Zalaris, he realized that courage and morality had a far greater impact. It could inspire, unite, and even change the course of history. The betrayal had shaken him, but it had also proven something vital. Zalaris needed more than a traditional leader. They needed someone willing to act decisively, wisely, and compassionately. Someone willing to risk everything for what was right. Over the following days, Alex worked tirelessly to identify other potential threats within the palace. He trained the guards to recognize subterfuge, strengthened the defenses around key locations, and implemented new strategies for communication and intelligence gathering. Slowly, trust began to grow, not only between him and the palace staff, but also among the citizens of Zalaris who had learned of his bravery. Princess Lyra remained by his side, supporting his efforts while learning from his strategies. The bond between them deepened, built on mutual respect, trust, and shared purpose. Together, they began to envision a future where the planet could be protected from threats both within and beyond its borders. But Alex knew the Krith were still out. Their forces were numerous, cunning, and relentless. And as long as there were those willing to betray their own people, danger would always loom. Yet despite the uncertainty and threats, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was no longer just a human soldier on a distant planet. He was a protector, a strategist, and a symbol of hope. Every action he took, every risk he faced, had a meaning far greater than himself. As he stood once more on the balcony overlooking the glowing city, Alex reflected on the events of the past weeks. He had faced ambushes, fought alien soldiers, navigated political intrigue, and confronted betrayal. And through it all, he had never wavered in his commitment to protect the princess and the people of Zalaris. Lyra joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You have proven yourself not only brave but wise. Zalaris is fortunate to have you." Alex looked out over the city, the twin moons casting their gentle light across the rooftops. "I only hope I can continue to protect them," he said softly. Lyra smiled, her eyes filled with hope and determination. "You will. Together we will face whatever comes, and we will ensure that Zalaris survives, thrives, and prospers." The future was uncertain, the dangers many, but one thing was clear. Alex Mercer had become more than a soldier. He had become a guardian, a leader in the making, and a force for hope in a world that desperately needed it. And somewhere in the shadows, those who had betrayed their own people would soon learn that courage, loyalty, and humanity were far stronger than deception. The skies above Xylaris darkened with the arrival of the Krith fleet. Enormous ships hovered silently, casting long shadows over the crystalline spires of the capital. The ground trembled as smaller attack craft descended, landing with precision across the outskirts. Smoke rose from distant settlements already under siege. Captain Alex Mercer stood on the palace balcony, surveying the scene. His heart pounded, but his expression remained calm. Beside him, Princess Lyra gripped his arm, her eyes steady, reflecting both determination and concern. "They are more prepared than before," Lyra said softly, her voice betraying only a hint of worry. "They learned from our previous encounters." Alex nodded. "And so have we. We know their weaknesses now, and we know our strengths. Xylaris may be outnumbered, but we are not outmatched. Not if we fight smart." Over the next hours, Alex worked tirelessly to coordinate the defense. He moved between factions of Xylarian soldiers, humans, and volunteers, blending their abilities and technologies into a single, cohesive force. He had studied the terrain, the Krith tactics, and the city's structures to create strategies that leverage speed, surprise, and precision. Commander Varric, humbled by his previous failure, now offered reluctant support. Alex accepted it but kept a careful eye on him. Trust had to be earned, and Alex knew that Varric's motives could shift at any moment. "Captain Mercer," Rena said, pointing at a tactical display, "their main force is splitting into 3 divisions. 2 aim for the city's heart. 1 targets the northern supply hub." Alex considered this for a moment. "We will let them think they are in control. Then we hit them where they least expect it. Divide and conquer. Our goal is to protect the civilians first and then force the Krith into positions where their numbers won't help them." As the Krith began their assault, Alex led a small team to intercept the division heading for the supply hub. Their journey through the rocky outskirts was treacherous. Energy blasts scorched the ground around them, and alien creatures driven into panic by the battle attacked indiscriminately. Yet Alex remained focused, directing his team with calm precision. They arrived just in time to see the Krith attempting to breach the supply depot. Alex quickly coordinated the defenders. Using a combination of human tactics and Xylarian technology, they created barriers, traps, and ambush points. When the Krith advanced, they were met with unexpected resistance. Alex fought alongside the soldiers, moving with practiced efficiency. His rifle fired steadily, each shot finding its mark, while he directed reinforcements to flank and cut off enemy paths. The defenders began to gain confidence, inspired not only by his skill but by his courage to be at the front lines. Meanwhile, Princess Lyra oversaw the defense of the city center. Her presence, combined with Alex's strategies, bolstered the morale of the soldiers. Citizens who had feared the Krith now found courage in their leaders. They took up defensive positions, aiding in evacuation, and even participating in minor combat when necessary. Hours of intense fighting passed. The Krith were relentless, but Alex's coordinated strategy allowed the defenders to repel attack after attack. He realized that victory would require more than just defense. They had to take the fight to the Krith's forces. "Lyra," Alex called over a comlink, "we've held them off long enough. We need to strike at their command ship. It's vulnerable if we move fast and use the northern cliffs for a surprise attack." Lyra nodded, trusting his judgment. "Then we strike together." Using hovercraft and swift squads of Xylarian soldiers, Alex led the assault on the Krith command ship. The path was narrow, littered with debris and guarded by elite Krith soldiers. Every move was precise. Every misstep could cost them their lives. Yet Alex's leadership kept everyone coordinated. When they reached the ship, Alex devised a daring plan. Small teams infiltrated from multiple sides, creating chaos and confusion among the Krith ranks. Alex himself led the main assault, clearing corridors and disabling defenses. The Krith commander, A massive figure in dark reflective armor confronted him at the core of the ship. "You again," the commander growled, swinging a massive energy blade. Alex dodged and countered with his rifle, striking critical points in the commander's armor. Sparks flew with every clash, but Alex's agility and tactical mind gave him the edge. With a final, precise strike, he disabled the commander's weapon and forced him into surrender. Meanwhile, Lyra's team secured key systems on the ship, ensuring that it could no longer coordinate the remaining Krith forces. The victory was decisive. Back on the city streets, the remaining Krith forces began to retreat, confused and demoralized. Alex coordinated the defenders to push them back, reclaiming lost territory and securing vital locations. By the time the first light of Xylaris' twin suns broke through the clouds, the battle was won. Citizens emerged from shelters, cheering their leaders. Soldiers saluted Alex, some in disbelief that a human had led them to victory. Lyra approached him, her eyes shining with pride and gratitude. "You did it, Alex," she said, placing a hand on his arm. "Xylaris is safe because of you." Alex shook his head. "We did it. Together. You led your people bravely and they followed. I only helped show the way." Lyra smiled. "No. You inspired them. You showed them what courage looks like, and that is something no army or technology could teach." In the aftermath of the battle, Alex and Lyra worked tirelessly to rebuild the city. They ensured that the wounded were cared for, defenses were strengthened, and the citizens felt secure once more. Trust and unity had grown stronger among the Xylarian factions thanks to Alex's leadership and vision. Even Commander Varric, humbled by the events, acknowledged Alex's skill. "Human," he said grudgingly, "you have earned the respect of Xylaris. Never have I seen a soldier fight with such strategy and heart." Alex nodded, understanding that true leadership required not just strength, but humility. "Respect must be earned, Varric, and it is given to those who fight for what is right." As the days passed, the Krith threat diminished, though scouts reported remnants fleeing to distant territories. Alex knew they could return, but for now, Xylaris had a chance to heal, to grow stronger and to learn from its trials. In the palace, Lyra and Alex discussed the future. "The people need hope," Lyra said, "not just to survive, but to thrive. And you have given them that." Alex considered her words. "I've only shown them what humans can do, but it is their courage that made victory possible. Without them, we could not have won." Lyra smiled, a quiet confidence in her eyes. "Perhaps it is time we think about more than survival. Perhaps it is time to rebuild Xylaris as a united kingdom, stronger than ever before." Alex looked out at the city, glowing under the soft light of dawn. The citizens were already cleaning streets, repairing buildings, and helping one another. He realized that leadership was not just about winning battles. It was about inspiring others, showing them the power of courage, morality, and unity. "You're right," he said finally. "We can build something better, together." And so, the stage was set for a new era. Xylaris had faced destruction, betrayal, and war, yet it had survived. Its people had discovered the strength within themselves, guided by a human soldier who had dared to act with courage and wisdom beyond his own species. Alex Mercer, standing beside Princess Lyra, realized that his journey was far from over. There would be challenges, threats, and decisions that could shape the future. But for the first time, he felt a sense of purpose greater than any mission he had ever undertaken on Earth. Together, he and Lyra vowed to protect Xylaris, to unite its people, and to ensure that bravery, honor, and morality would guide the kingdom forward. And somewhere in the distance, beyond the horizon, Alex knew that the Krith, or other dangers, might return. But with courage, strategy, and unity, Xylaris would stand. As the twin suns rose fully over the crystalline city, Alex felt the weight of responsibility settle comfortably on his shoulders. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a protector, a leader, and a symbol of hope. The battle was won. But the true journey, building a kingdom inspiring a people and shaping a future, was only beginning. And in that moment, Alex Mercer understood something he had always known deep down. Human courage and heart could change the course of history, even on a distant alien world. The city of Xylaris was quiet at last. After the devastating battles with the Krith, the people were finally beginning to rebuild their lives. Crystal spires gleamed under the light of the twin suns, reflecting hope, resilience, and the promise of a brighter future. Captain Alex Mercer walked through the streets alongside Princess Lyra, observing the citizens working together to repair their homes, clean the streets, and care for the wounded. Alex felt a strange mixture of pride and humility. He had led the defense of this alien world, but the real heroes were the people of Xylaris. Their courage, their willingness to stand together, had turned the tide of war, and yet as he walked beside Lyra, he sensed that his role in this world was far from over. Lyra turned to him, her eyes shining. "Alex, the council has convened. They wish to speak with you about the future of Xylaris." Alex's brow furrowed, slightly. He had faced countless dangers on this planet, but he knew that the political stage could be just as treacherous as the battlefield. "I will go," he said simply, "but I do not seek power. I only wish to protect your people." The council chamber was filled with Xylarian nobles, military leaders, and representatives of the people. Their faces were solemn but respectful. At the center, Princess Lyra stood tall, her presence commanding attention. "Captain Mercer," she began, her voice calm but authoritative. "You have risked your life for me, for our people, and for the future of Xylaris. Your actions have not only saved lives but inspired hope across the planet. For that, we owe you our gratitude." Alex nodded, keeping his composure. "Thank you, Princess. I only did what I thought was right. I am honored to have helped." An elder council member stepped forward, his deep blue skin shimmering under the chamber lights. "Human, your courage and wisdom have proven unmatched. You have united factions that were once divided, led our armies to victory, and protected our princess against impossible odds. For this we extend an offer. We wish for you to take a role as the King of Xylaris, a symbol of unity between all peoples of this planet and a guardian of its future." Alex froze. The words were unexpected. He had trained for battle, not for rulership. He was a soldier, not a king. And yet, as he looked at the faces of the council members, he saw hope, trust, and expectation. This was not a reward. They sought a leader who could guide their planet wisely and fairly. Princess Lyra placed a hand gently on his arm. "Alex," she said softly, "you have already shown the qualities of a leader: courage, honor, and compassion. You have earned the trust of my people. They need you now, not just as a protector, but as a king." Alex swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the offer pressing upon him. He thought of Earth, of his training, of the simple life he had known before arriving on Xylaris, and then he looked at the citizens outside the palace windows, the soldiers he had trained, the princess who had trusted him, and he realized something profound. True leadership was not about birthright. It was about action, heart, and morality. I accept," Alex said finally, his voice steady. "Not for glory, not for power, but to serve the people of Xylaris and protect them from any threat. I will do my best to honor this role and earn their trust every day." A murmur of approval swept through the chamber. Some nobles still hesitated, unsure of a human ruler, but the majority nodded in support. Princess Lyra smiled, her eyes filled with pride. "Then let it be known. Captain Alex Mercer is now King of Xylaris, a guardian and leader for all peoples of this planet." The coronation ceremony was unlike anything Alex had ever experienced. The city's citizens gathered in the central plaza, cheering as the newly crowned king and Princess Lyra stood together. Crystals shimmered in the sunlight, reflecting the energy and unity of the planet. Music filled the air, strange, melodic, and beautiful, and Alex felt a sense of belonging he had never known before. As part of the ceremony, Alex pledged an oath to protect Xylaris, to act with justice and compassion, and to unite the diverse peoples of the planet. The council members, soldiers, and citizens witnessed his vow, and for the first time a human had truly become part of an alien world, not as an outsider, but as a respected leader. In the days that followed, Alex and Lyra worked tirelessly to rebuild the kingdom. They established new policies to strengthen the alliances between the city's factions, encouraged education and innovation, and implemented strategies to prevent future betrayals. Alex trained the military in both human and Xylarian tactics, ensuring the planet could defend itself against any threat, while Lyra focused on diplomacy and public welfare. Despite his responsibilities, Alex never forgot the lessons of his past missions. He walked among the people, listened to their concerns, and shared stories of courage and hope. His presence inspired citizens to rise above fear, to work together, and to believe in the possibility of a better future. One afternoon, as Alex oversaw a construction project to repair a damaged crystal bridge, a child approached him cautiously. "Are you really a human?" the child asked, wide-eyed. Alex smiled and knelt down. "Yes." "And do you know what that means?" The child shook their head. "It means that no matter where we come from, we can all make a difference. Courage, kindness, and hard work can change the world, whether you're human, Xylarian, or anything else." The child beamed and ran off to tell their friends. Alex watched them go, feeling a sense of pride and hope. These children represented the future of Xylaris, a generation that would grow up learning the value of unity and courage. As weeks turned into months, Alex's leadership began to transform Xylaris. Factions that had once fought for power now worked together, sharing knowledge and resources. Citizens became more engaged in civic life, inspired by the example of a human king who had risked everything to protect them. Yet Alex remained humble. He never saw himself as above the people. He worked beside them, learning from their culture and sharing his own experiences. He understood that leadership was not about commanding others. It was about serving them, guiding them, and inspiring them to achieve their best. Princess Lyra, now standing firmly as both a ruler and partner to Alex, often reflected on how far they had come. Together they traveled the kingdom, visiting villages, attending councils, and strengthening bonds between the people. Their friendship had grown into a deep partnership built on mutual respect, trust, and shared purpose. One evening, as they watched the twin suns set over the city from the palace balcony, Lyra turned to Alex. "Do you ever miss Earth?" she asked quietly. Alex thought for a moment. "Sometimes," he admitted. "But Xylaris is home now. This is where I can make the greatest difference, and with you by my side, I know we can build something lasting." Lyra smiled, placing her hand on his. "Then let us continue together, for the people, for the planet, and for the future." Months passed, and Xylaris thrived. Markets flourished, cities were rebuilt, and the citizens enjoyed peace and prosperity. Tales of the human soldier who became king spread across the planet, inspiring countless others. His courage, morality, and leadership had not only saved a princess and a kingdom, but had united a people who had once been divided. Alex never sought fame or recognition. His reward was the knowledge that he had helped create a world where courage, wisdom, and justice guided every decision. He had proven that humans, through action and heart, could inspire entire civilizations, even on distant planets with alien peoples and cultures. The Krith threat, while diminished, remained a distant shadow, but the people of Xylaris now had faith in themselves, in their leaders, and in the unity that Alex and Lyra had fostered. They knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they could face them together. As Alex stood once more on the palace balcony, gazing over the glowing city, he felt a profound sense of purpose. The journey from a human soldier on a distant planet to the king of Xylaris had been extraordinary. He had faced impossible odds, betrayal, and war, yet he had remained true to his values. And now he had the chance to shape a future built on hope, courage, and unity. Princess Lyra joined him, her presence steady and reassuring. "Look at what we have built, Alex," she said softly. "The people are thriving and the planet is safe. All because someone dared to act with courage and heart." Alex nodded, a quiet smile on his face. "And they will continue to thrive, because they have the courage to do what is right. I only showed them the way." Together they watched the sun dip below the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant hues of purple and gold. For Alex Mercer, the soldier who had once simply followed orders, this moment was the culmination of every act of bravery, every choice to do what was right, and every risk taken to protect the innocent. Scilaris was united. The people were inspired, and a human far from his home planet had proven that courage, morality, and heart could shape the destiny of an entire civilization. The journey was complete, but the story of Scilaris was just beginning, a story of hope, unity, and the enduring power of human spirit. And so, under the twin suns, the new king and his princess looked out over their kingdom, ready to guide it into a brighter, stronger, and more united future.